Good afternoon, sports fans, and welcome to Full Count, SportsMemo's MLB betting coverage show. We come to you live every weekday, Monday through Friday, 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. My friends, we're going to be covering baseball with some of the best handicappers, analysts, columnists, and bettors on the planet. We're going to be giving out free picks on several games for today's card and plenty of time for you to get down on those free picks. I'm your host, world champion handicapper, Vegas's biggest daily sports bettor, Joe D'Amico. My friends, we have a great panel to kick off the week. Joining us today, the First Lady of Las Vegas, Dionne D'Amico, and the Surgeon General of sports betting, Dr. Chuck. Welcome, guys. Dionne, happy Monday to you.
Happy Monday.
It's nice to see you. You know, I rarely get to see you any day of the week, let alone on Mondays. Guys, the First Lady of Las Vegas and I had a wonderful time this morning on the First Family Show. We were with our Monday regular, Jesse the Body Shul, and our first-timer, the Insider's Room, Nick Parsons. Great show. Dr. Chuck making a house call on Monday. Doc, happy Monday to you.
Good to see you guys. How cute that you're both wearing matching hats today, despite all the strife going on behind the scenes. I know that you can make it all up by just putting the same hat on, right?
You know, Doc, I got to tell you right now, she can wear any hat she wants in baseball as long as it's a Yankees hat. I'll tell you that. Otherwise, I'll be calling our good friend, the lawyer. That's Saul Goodman. Saul Goodman to defend me in that divorce trial. I'll tell you that. I saw the shirt. I love it. By the way, the last few days we've been binge watching some Breaking Bad in preparation for tonight's Better Call Saul. So if I make any meth or meth cooking references, sorry, Chris, our producer. It goes with the territory. He's smiling back there. My friend, I've got a couple of announcements before we go into our roundtable games. Let me tell you right now, for this show, all access, 3-day pass, 50% off. We'll work with the entire panel for the entire week. Use code MLB3. You'll see it scrolling across the bottom of your screen. My friends, it can be used multiple times, so grab as many as you want and get the entire panel for one low price. A few other items real quick. Subscribers, man, we need your help. We are right around the corner from 5,000 subscribers on YouTube, but we can't reach that milestone without you. We're like at 4980 something. Help us reach that goal. We want to hit it yesterday. We'd love to hit it today, but you can help us reach it the next few days. Guys, I'll tell you right now, I'll tell you what, if we can hit it before the end of the week, I personally will give out an extra free winner, both on the First Family Show and any MLB show that I host this week. I'll give you out an extra free winner, which means I'll be dipping into my premium play releases just for you. So help us hit that milestone. Only you can. Also, just a quick heads up, guys, you know, even God rested on a Sunday. Dan and I are going to get a well-needed rest a week from now. We're going to be taking a little time off from doing shows. Now, no need to worry. You can still rely upon Dan and myself to post premium play winners and free plays in the free play area on the SportsMemo website. We're just going to take a week or so off, maybe 2 weeks on doing shows, but John Ryan will be here, and God knows our producer, Chris, God knows what he's got in store for you, filling in our shoes. It's going to be a lot of fun. So still continue to tune in. We're going to have great content on the video for you. So, guys, without any further ado, we have 3 roundtable games that we're going to be covering. Then we're going to go into our best bet segment. Our first roundtable game is between 2 teams that appear to be playoff bound. And I know we're right around the corner. We didn't hit All-Star break yet, but it's never too early to talk about teams that we feel are going to be making the playoffs. And these 2 teams are certainly 2 teams that I feel will be in the postseason. Our first roundtable game, the Phillies at the Cardinals. Currently, Philadelphia minus $1.25. Total 7.5 over, minus $1.15. Let's go to the prettiest panelist today and one of the most successful. First Lady of Las Vegas, give us your take on Philadelphia at St. Louis. Phillies a favorite. Dionne, take it away.
Well, with the All-Star break next week, St. Louis can't afford to lose any more games. They currently sit 2.5 games behind Milwaukee in the NL Central. However, things don't look too bright for them as they have to face a hot Philly team. The Phillies, which won 7 of the last 10 games, need all the wins they can get as they are 7 games back in the NL East in 3rd place. They have taken 2 of 3 in this series, and on the season, 4 of 6 matchups with the Cards. The St. Louis lineup has hit a wall. Over the last 8 games, they've accounted for a total of 11 runs. Today, they must face Aaron Nola, who is 5-2 with a 2.19 ERA in 8 career starts against them. Miles Mikolas has dropped his last 2. And while he has gotten true run support, he really hasn't looked too sharp. And let's face it, he failed to win a game in his last 4 turns. So outside with the Philadelphia team, that's 7-2 the last 9 versus the NL Central, 4-1 the last 5 on the road, and 5-1 the last 6 following a loss. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Phillies here.
The First Lady of Las Vegas says take the Philadelphia Phillies here, guys. I've got to tell you, Dionne, your breakdowns are really good. They're concise. They're to the point. Basically, as we say in the business, you threw away the bones and you gave everybody the meat. You gave them the main course. Your breakdowns are great. I love it.
Thank you.
She's signing with the Phillies. And guys, sports fans, I want you to know it's not because she's my wife. I am always proud of her, but I want you to know she's a trooper. Second bout of COVID. She took a little time off. She's still hurting a little bit, so bear with her. But I love the voice, Dionne, very sexy. And you're certainly the cutest panelist on the show today. And that's no small task. That Dr. Chuck is a good-looking mofo, I'll tell you that. He is some sexy son of a gun. Sports fans, the First Lady of Vegas said she sides with the Philadelphia Phillies here. It's hard to argue that fact. Let's see what Dr. Chuck has got to say about this game. Doc, this is certainly 2 teams that I feel are playoff-bound this season. Phillies at Cardinals, currently Philadelphia, $1.25. Total 7.5, over -115. The Surgeon General of Sports Betting, Dr. Chuck, take it away.
Well, I'm so glad you brought that back up because I was afraid the lead was going to be buried after Dionne gave that great rundown because me and you and John Ryan might have to do some serious pizza betting and or have an entire Manny's Pub show because I don't think either of these teams are making the playoffs.
Ooh.
So let's but Joe, so who are you cutting out? I mean, you have to be cutting out the Brewers and Padres at this point.
Well, right now, if I've got to say that, I will tell you, my friend, I would probably say that, yeah, at this point, I would cut out the Brewers and the Padres definitely going to go. And I'll be honest with you. I am not crazy about the Mets at all. I think the Mets nosedive the second half of the season. I think they're going to go down. I'm going to tell you right now, like Mike Tyson's first 28 opponents, they're going to be hitting canvas pretty soon. I have no problem with the Mets or Met fans, guys. I mean, they're the other New York team. But I will tell you this. I am not crazy about this team. I think they lack heart, and I think they're hitting. Oof. It leaves a lot to be desired. And Dr. Chuck and Dionne, sports fans, that's something that has been their Achilles heel the last few seasons. Mm-hmm. Their pitching has been good, but I don't see this team. I see this team falling from grace. I'll tell you that. I like Atlanta in that division. I like them big. I said in the preseason. I said in the first few months of the regular season, as the Mets have taken over, But let me tell you, their stronghold in the NL East, I think, is slipping. I like Atlanta. Yes, and I'll tell you what, man. I think there's a lot of teams right now in the National League that should be making golf appointments for October. It's going to be an ugly season for a lot of these teams. But I'm interested to see what Dr. Chuck is going to say. Phillies, Cardinals.
Yes.
Doc, take it away, handsome.
We'll get back on task here. I apologize.
No. I like it.
I think you're trying to fit a few too many teams into a few too few slots, but that's okay because I'm completely with Dionne on the side. I can't fathom going against Nola at this point, even facing a Cardinals lineup that, is never fun to fade, but she brought up a good point. They are feast or famine. It's hard to believe that such teams feast or famine when Arenado is the unsung hero of this lineup and Goldschmidt is the odds-on favorite to win the NL MVP, which brings me to another point. I don't think the Cardinals are even a playoff team. And when they send a guy like Miles Mikolas out there and he isn't able to get any wins, he's not able to get any traction, he doesn't get that run support that he needs, it's not ideal. Aaron Nola, break it down, just the last month, he hasn't had but one start where his FIP was a good bit, or at least below his ERA. He's overachieving to an immense degree, which means that he's just possibly even going to get better, which would be hard to fathom for someone that's pitched this well analytically and metrically. I still trust Miles Mikolas. Unfortunately, he doesn't have the metrics that I love, but I don't love the Phillies lineup either. And so I would definitely want to go for an under here, which would totally play into a Phillies side, maybe even like taking a flyer on a run line Phillies, expanding the line. I could totally see Nola going 7 shutout innings. Maybe he gives up one solo bomb. He does tend to give up home runs. he gives up one home run to any number of Cardinal guys. But, this guy's looking at 1 run, 3 or 4 hits as a ceiling here. And I think it's a really good spot to back Nola on a couple of different prop ideas. But yeah, I'd maybe expand a Phillies line, definitely take the under. And as I said last week, this might be one of those spots where you could even take a 6.5 under and hope that Michaelis holds up his end of the bargain and get better plus money.
Guys, Dr. Chuck is one of the best technical analysts I've ever seen in this business. And another technical, breakdown. Great analysis, Doc. And by the way, sports fans, he says under Phillies, a few other bonus throws in there. And the Doc, and he's not afraid to throw some prop bets out there. He is known to put quite a few prop bets out there. And I love that about the doctor, because when you have an ailment in sports betting, you go to the doctor, and there's only one Dr. Chuck. I love him. You love him. So we have one round of our roundtable, our first round of our roundtable games in the rear view. But don't go anywhere, sports fans. We have 2 more roundtable games and our best bet segment. But I do want to tell you, please hit that subscribe button. We want to hit 5,000 subscribers this week. I want to do it. And the sooner we do it, the more free plays I'm going to be putting out on both the First Family and the MLB show. So let's go to our second roundtable game in a battle of NL East supremacy. Now, this is a very good matchup that has serious implications, guys. The Mets at the Braves, currently Atlanta minus 130, 7 over minus 125. We're going to go to the First Lady of Las Vegas, who's all over the SportsMemo leaderboards in multiple sports. Dionne D'Amico, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. So New York has a 1.5 game lead over Atlanta in the NL East. However, the Braves are running hot. Winners of 3 in a row and 8 of the last 10, their offense is surging, and their pitching has been stellar. Over those last 10 games, they have held opponents to 3 or less runs 9 times. The Mets pitching has been solid since opening day. But the same issue that has nagged them for seasons has sprung about. Their hitting is inconsistent. Scherzer and Fried are starting. Scherzer has had good numbers, but is making his second start since returning from injury. Fried is 9-2 with a 2.52 ERA. Both starting pitchers have done well facing today's opponent, but Fried in 17 games, which does include 12 starts against New York, has an ERA of just 2.80, and Atlanta has won his last 9 starts. The Mets are 1-4 the last 5 meetings at Truist Park and 0-4 the last 4 versus teams with a winning record. So I'm going to go ahead and take Atlanta here.
Dionne D'Amico, the First Lady of Las Vegas, who's all over the SportsMemo leaderboards. So she's taking Atlanta. Dionne, this is an interesting matchup. And it's not because great minds think alike or because we're related. I think Atlanta's going to take over this division and take it over with authority. It's a very good breakdown, sports fans. No, you do great work, Dionne, and we do appreciate you battling through and trudging through, still dealing with obviously a voice and a throat.
Thank you.
But you still sound as sexy as you are adorable. So thank you very much. I could say that and get away with it, sports fans. She's my wife. All right, sports fans, we're going to go to Dr. Chuck because this is a big game, Dr. Chuck, especially going into All-Star break in a week. Atlanta has a chance of taking over first place in this division, and this division is a tough division. I want to know what Dr. Chuck has to say. Mets, Braves, Atlanta, minus 130, total 7 over 125. Dr. Chuck, take it away, please.
So Dionne made some compelling points here. Part of what I was getting at in the opening game here, which featured the playoff-bound Phillies, as Joe D'Amico said, with the Mets and Braves, we get the other 2 teams that we kind of discussed. I think with the Mets and Braves, with the Mets and Braves facing off today, Max Scherzer is a difference maker. Jacob deGrom is probably not out as long as we thought, and I think this is a huge change because I am not a big believer in the lineup, but I'm a big believer in all these guys that stepped up in the absence of the 2 of them, like Taijuan Walker, who's been phenomenal, Carlos Carrasco, who's almost been better. David Peterson stepped into that last spot, and he's been so good that even Max came back, and Buck didn't send him down. Buck didn't put him in the pen. My initial reaction to this is, hell, after Max looked that good coming back in his first start, even if it was against the Reds, who actually have some merit on offense, why are they giving us this price on Max Scherzer? You know, I understand it's the battle of Maxes, and Max Fried's also pretty good, but I'm okay with the Mets against a lefty. I'm okay with Max against this lineup. I think he's got a bone to pick, an axe to grind. I think everything Joe is saying is in the Mets' minds. I think this is not a team that normally puts an entire season together. This is not a team that normally fulfills expectations, even if they have big splashy moves like they made with signing Max Scherzer, signing Buck Showalter, things like that. And so it screams out, why is this the price? Why am I getting Max at plus 120 type of situation, especially when he comes back? Literally just he was missing every bat in his first start back. I think the Mets get to him a little bit. And I wouldn't really want to have the Mets in a full game situation once Max Scherzer leaves, because of course he's not going to go past like the 6th inning or anything like that. I would want to be on the Mets first 5, maybe even, just take the half run that you're going to get. It's going to be pretty juiced, so I'd probably take the money line, hope that you don't push. Mm-hmm. But that number at 7 looks pretty darn good. 4-3, it sounds to me. Wouldn't want to be against Dionne in this full game, but I would definitely be interested in some Mets first 5.
Sports fans, Mets first 5 by Dr. Chuck. Dr. Chuck, guys, his sports knowledge and his betting knowledge, as good as I've ever seen in this business. Thank you, Dr. Chuck. And by the way, Doc, I want you to know, what's that?
I apologize too.
No, why?
I'm talking like it's 2021. Yes, 6 teams make the playoffs now. People probably are like, what the hell is this guy talking about? Yes, I am. I'm crazy. I'm a crazy Giants believer. I actually think that the playoffs will consist, as of today, where I have my money, is Dodgers, Padres, Giants, Braves, Mets, Brewers. That's where I have it. That's crazy. I understand that's crazy, but that's where I have it. And so, I mean, it's not like it's different. In the old format, you wouldn't have said Phillies and Cardinals are playoff bound, obviously. This is a different format. And so I didn't want to make it sound like I'm crazy and forgetting that there's changes.
Well, Dr. Chuck, I want to tell you this, and I want to tell our viewers out there this. This is why I love SportsMemo. You and I don't have to see eye to eye on who we think is going to make the playoffs, or even on a specific game. You and Dionne, you made compelling points about this game. You have different angles on this game. This is why SportsMemo is the one-stop sports betting shop for every sports bettor out there. We have someone tailor-made just for you. We don't have cookie cutouts of one guy regurgitating the same information as the last. Right. Go over to SportsMemo. If you don't like me, that's fine. You don't like Dionne, that's fine. You don't like Dr. Chuck, that's fine. If you don't like any one of us, there's something probably wrong with you and you need medical help. But I will tell you this. No, I'm just kidding. I will tell you this. You go over to SportsMemo, you're going to find a capper or cappers tailor-made just for you, because we don't have the same guy or the same cappers just spitting out the same thing over and over. And this is why I like being on these panels with Dr. Chuck, Dionne, guys like Jesse, guys like John Ryan. We don't look at games the same way. We don't handicap the same way. But each one of us are documented winners, because numbers don't lie. You can check our numbers over at the leaderboards on SportsMemo. Guys, don't go anywhere. We still have another roundtable game, then our best bet segment. Now, guys, I will tell you, a third of 3 roundtable games between 2 NL West combatants. All right, maybe it's not the biggest marquee game on the board. That doesn't mean there isn't gold in them there hills. Guys, you got a team that's in 3rd place, a team that's in 4th place. I don't know if they're going to stay there right now. I'm sure Dr. Chuck will chime in on that in a minute. But let's go to the Diamondbacks at Giants, San Francisco. This game has gone up a little bit, minus 165. Total 7.5 over, minus 115. Let's go to the first plate in Las Vegas, who, by the way, I know is running hot in baseball. 4-1 or 5-1. Her last 5 or 6 in MLB premium plays. Our free plays have been kicking butt and taking names. Dionne D'Amico, tell us your take. Diamondbacks, Giants, please.
The Diamondbacks dwell in the NL West cellar for a reason, guys. They might have taken 2 of 3 meetings with San Francisco this season. However, the Giants have certainly had their way with the D-backs. They have taken 8 of the last 10 matchups overall and 17 of the last 21 in San Francisco. Looking further at this game, it is a rematch from last Wednesday's meeting in which Merrill Kelly and Alex Cobb were scheduled starters there as well. By the way, San Francisco won that game 7-5. I feel Cobb is a better pitcher and certainly has more control. Guys, I got to be honest with you. I can read off stats for the next several minutes, and none of them are very impressive. for either team. But I think Cobb is a little bit more consistent, and San Francisco has had their way with Arizona, especially at home. I wouldn't play this game because I think the price is very high here. Even if this price was a little bit lower, I would probably still stay away. But just to give you a lean, I will take a lean on the home team. So go ahead and take the Giants here.
Sports fans, Dionne D'Amico, the first lady of Las Vegas, who's on multiple sports leaderboards at SportsMemo, says if she had to play the game, she put a small lean on the Giants. I understand. Dionne, once again, we've talked about this once or twice before. You said this line is a little high. What's your ceiling, really, no matter what? I mean, if Sandy Koufax was pitching with the 27 Yankees lineup behind him, what's your ceiling for a price where you won't go over it?
I try to stick around like nothing more than like $1.40. Once it starts getting past that, I try and stay away from it just because you have games to bet. If you don't like anything, you don't always have to bet something. You can stay away from games for the day. And me, myself, I'm not in love with this game. And even if the price, at this price, I would stay away from it because the price is just too high for me. I like to stay more around $1.40.
There you go. So $1.40, but you're still not in love with it. If you had to lean on it, the Giants.
I would put a small lean.
I feel even better, Dr. Chuck. She says if she's not in love with it, she's staying away. 23 years ago, she didn't stay away from me. Look at that. Look what happened.
It's kind of hard to stay away from
break, but a very good breakdown. So you're saying there's no crime in staying away from a game?
Absolutely. There's plenty of games the following day or the day after that. You don't have to bet every single day. There's no saying that you have to bet something. Just lay low that day. There's always tomorrow. You'll find something the following day that's going to make you money.
My sentiments exactly. That's good betting advice, sports fans. Football season coming up. Just for example, Dr. Chuck, I know people that have to bet every single TV game on Saturday night in college football, the Sunday late game to bail out, the Monday night game, the Thursdays and Fridays. You got some of those smaller conferences on Thursday, Friday, some of the smaller conferences. They got to bet every TV game. There's no law says you have to bet every game on the board. Bet where you have value. Bet with your head, not your heart. I'll tell you that. That's a really good breakdown, too, by the way. For someone who didn't like the game, Dionne, it's still a good breakdown. We appreciate you breaking it down for us. Let's go to Dr. Chuck. I know he's going to chime in. He's got that grin on like oh, my God.
Gears are turning already.
I can hear the gears turning, but I love that about Dr. Chuck. Doc, I'm going to tell you, I'm not a poker player, but I would play poker with you any day because you will give your hand away right away. You have a great poker. You're one of the brightest guys I've ever met, but you smile as soon as you're ready to say something. You got the gun cocked and ready to go, ready to pull the trigger. Dr. Chuck, tell us your take on this game. Wait, what's that gun?
He's like a kid who's in trouble. You can always tell when a kid is in trouble because they have that little smirk on their face, and that's exactly what he's doing.
Absolutely. And I love that about Dr. Chuck.
Dionne is much more correct in this front than Joe is. I almost felt as Dionne was talking that Detroit had sent her here and put me on the couch as my therapist and was like, you cannot effing bet every game, right? Did you know that's possible? So yes, I've learned some lessons, but she brought up a lot of good points. And no, actually, this face somehow works well in the poker game with I don't have any eye bleeding or anything like that, so that helps. But I don't. She brought up a good point. This line it's really weird because we just did a show last week where Kevin Thomas and John Ryan were trying to convince me that the Giants are on the verge of selling and that Kepler would get fired by the All-Star break. And I was just so taken aback. I had no idea in my little bubble here that anyone had even considered that these were thoughts that were being had. This team very, very publicly and objectively won 60 times after July 1st last year. Not a whole lot's changed, except they've improved. They added Carlos Rodon. Of course, things aren't going right when you're only 2 games over 500 and you get to here. But it's funny because we think this line's too big when not a whole lot's changed. Merrill Kelly is the only saving grace that the D-backs can put on the mound to even get them in any sort of a line. And this is the spot they get put in. And so similar to why am I getting Max Scherzer at such a plus price, this play screams out to me, yep, you played the Giants all weekend. It worked out 2 out of 3 when everyone was telling you the Padres were going to sweep them. Yesterday, they wiped the floor with the Padres, and so maybe this line is more correct and more fixing itself to what the market should be. I love Alex Cobb. I was on Alex Cobb in the last game. Didn't work out well, but it was all newspaper number type stuff. The post-game box score in that game was ridiculous. Of course, they did have to come back to win it because he did give up some runs early, and Merrill Kelly held his own better than the D-backs bullpen did. But his ERA was 9 and his FIP was 2, and so you don't have to do anything, any sort of arm twisting for me to come right back on that guy. He already is the number one starter I have since May as far as the FIP minus works. Merrill Kelly's not going to be able to do this twice against this lineup, who maybe woke up a little bit yesterday and, has a really solid VMI situation here facing the D-backs. I think Merrill Kelly is a guy that when people want to back Arizona because Vegas is supposed to even everything out, it's supposed to be even, getting this plus 140-ish with Merrill Kelly is supposed to be even. Well, he doesn't get this line very much. And when he does, he usually does win. So it does give you even more pause. I know Joe's going to talk about this game as well in an interesting way. Because I'm bullish on the Giants, caveat, and because I'm bullish on Gabe Kapler and extremely bullish on Alex Cobb, these guys that people don't respect, that aren't seen as this stud rotation that I think are guys that I think are going to prove themselves as August and September come along. And, if they can't get the hitting, then they're not going to. Kevin Thomas was saying Logan Webb should ask for a trade after that last game where he nearly throws a no-hitter and they still lose. I think maybe lay the 1.5 in this spot, but not a whole lot of value except for maybe I would go with Giants team total over.
All right, good stuff by Dr. Chuck. Doc, I got to tell you, I do like your breakdowns, and technically you're as good as I've ever seen in this business. Great stuff from Dr. Chuck, who is bullish on the Giants. So to quote Teddy Roosevelt, bully for you, Dr. Chuck. I love you. That's great stuff. Sports fans, don't go anywhere. We have the most exciting portion of the show, our best bets segment. That's where Dionne, Dr. Chuck, and myself are going to chime in with our best bets on today's board. Sometimes they're different from the roundtable plays. Sometimes they are. They do consist of the roundtable plays. So without any further ado, let's go to the First Lady of Las Vegas, who has a best bet. Now, I know that Dionne and I did a First Family show earlier today. I'm going to be chiming in the best bet. It is a different free best bet that I'm giving out. I believe Dionne's giving a different free best bet as well. Dionne D'Amico, best bet, MLB. Take it away.
Thank you. I am 4-1 my last 5 MLB releases, and today I have uncovered one big winner in my 5-unit MLB double play for $9 Monday. My double plays are twice as strong as any regular game I release. I have it posted right now over at SportsMemo for just $9. And my best bet today is a game we've already covered. For many of the same reasons I've mentioned earlier in the roundtable segment, why I like Philadelphia over St. Louis, the Phillies are playing better. They're playing hotter, are playing a little more hungrier right now. And Aaron Nola has a very good record against the Cardinals. So for my best bet today, I'm sticking with Philadelphia.
There you go. There you go. Dionne D'Amico says she's sticking with the Phillies. Good reasoning, good breakdown, and a little bit different from your breakdown on the roundtable segment. Thank you for making it different for our viewers out there. It's good stuff, guys. Go follow Dionne D'Amico over at SportsMemo. We've got this great 3-day pass for baseball, 50% off. She's also doing some great work in WNBA. She's all over the leaderboards over there. Go follow Dionne D'Amico. You'll follow her all the way to the bank. Let's go to the Surgeon General of Sports Betting. He is one of the best I've ever seen in breaking down games. I'm interested to see what Dr. Chuck has for everyone out there today. Dr. Chuck, take it away. Your best bet for Monday.
So as I talk about a lot, we are looking at a game that wasn't on the list, and of course is because we didn't feature the most popular game on the slate tonight. So I will. It's Oakland facing the Rangers in Texas, and it's going to be Adrian Martinez getting the start against Spencer Howard. Both these guys are people that are somebody people want to fade, but the A's just can't get it out of their own way on offense. The only team hitting worse than them in July is the Anaheim Angels, as that will make Joe extremely happy, I'm sure. Overrated as they get. Mike Trout still hasn't made the playoffs. I don't think that's changing this year, speaking of playoffs. But they're so bad. They're batting 152. This is all in July numbers. This is 10 days of statistics. They're batting 152. They have a negative 14. 217 is their weighted on base average, and 40 wins run collected plus, which is what I use as my slash when I talk about the offense here. Spencer Howard's not somebody that anybody is going to get excited about, but it doesn't really matter because Texas is hitting well. They don't have to hit well to hit Adrian Martinez. The A's are kind of leveling off from that overachievement that they had at the beginning of the year as the cream rises to the top, as they say a lot. If you don't have personnel because you get rid of them because that's what your organization does all the time, eventually it's going to pay off for the other teams. And especially on the road here, I think Texas has 3 or 4 potentially run advantage after 5 innings. And I think the value is immense to get almost normal vig on that play.
There you go, sports fans. Dr. Chuck's his Rangers first 5. Minus that half run, minus 115. It's great stuff. Go follow Dr. Chuck. Use this great discount. I promise him you dip your toe in the Dr. Chuck waters for a few days. You'll come back for a longer stay. Guys, it's time to adjust your headsets, your PCs, your tablets, your phones, because I am very excited about what I've got going on tonight. Just like my wedding night, I'm going to keep this very quick and very sweet. I'll tell you that. Sports fans, my MLB home run plays have won 3 in a row and are on an outstanding run of 47-20 over the years. No other baseball player in the business has gotten you paid as much or as often as my MLB home run plays. Beyond this winter, start your week off right and hit a home run. This big money maker is available right now for $9 Monday for guess how much? Just $9 over at SportsMemo. For my best bet play today, I'm releasing on the show a different play that I given on the First Family show this morning. I think it's kind of funny that I'm going to contradict and go against the First Lady of Las Vegas on one of her roundtable games, but you got to do, guys, what you got to do. And although I cannot argue with some of her statistics, why the Diamondbacks are such a bad team, I kind of like the very game Arizona team here tonight. Yes, it's true. They are not a very good team. However, they have played spoiler at times to some very good teams this season already. San Francisco, although is playing 500 ball, as the doctor mentioned earlier, and is sitting in third place in the NL West, Arizona and Colorado are right on their heels. The Giants aren't a very consistent team. I don't see consistency in this team at all. And in all sincerity, their offense, it's horrible. It looks horrible. Let's face it, they scored 4 or less runs in 11 of the last 13 outings. Meanwhile, the Diamondbacks, their offense has started to heat up. In their last 13 contests, their lineup has accounted for 5 or more runs 10 times. So that tells me that this game is going to come down to pitching. And Merrill Kelly has looked every bit as good or even better at times than Alex Cobb over recent weeks. So I recommend taking the Arizona Diamondbacks plus a run and a half, minus $1.40. I see $1.45, 1 or 2 places. That's okay. I'll take the plus 1.5 there, sports fans. Let's bring our panel back on. We got a couple of announcements. Then we're going to head on out of here, my friends. Be sure to tune in every weekday at 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern to this show, Full Count. That's SportsMemo's MLB betting coverage show, coming to you live with special guests each and every day. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Guys, please, please, please hit that subscribe button. We want to hit 5,000 subscribers on YouTube. And if we do, I personally, on every show I host this week, will give out an extra free play. So you get 2 on every show from me, guys. And don't forget that 50% discount is going across the bottom of your screen. My friends, we're going to sign off here. But as we do, I'd like to say on behalf of Sports Memo, the First Lady of Vegas, Dionne D'Amico, and Dr. Chuck, good luck to you and have a winning day.